Ooh, here we are. Hey, Jared, remember that time when you birdied? Remember that time you birdied the first hole of Chambers Bay? You remember that?
I remember it like it was yesterday.
Man, it was epic. How beautiful was it out there?
Oh, you can't beat it, man. You honestly can't. It's one of the best venues in golf, but doesn't get
No,
the love that it
certainly not.
deserves.
It got the one playthrough for the U.S. Open a number of years ago, but if anybody here listening has a chance, go ahead and make sure you hit a little tee time out at Chambers Bay. I promise you will not regret it. But here we are. Welcome to episode 8 of KYP, aka the Know Your Personnel podcast. I'm Nathan Hawthorne. This is my co-host Jarod McEnroy, here to break down all of the latest, greatest, and best news in sports. So Jarod, break it down. What are we going to talk about today?
Yeah, it took a little week off. It was slow. We
Wasn't
had
a
some
damn
stuff
thing
going
going
on.
on.
So, no, not really anything. And honestly, some of the stuff in the news these days, it's just a shame. It's a shame. We'll get into a little bit of that today, but yeah, I mean, we're going to talk a little golf, football, basketball, just like we usually do. We're going to break down another division today in the NFL. I think we'll get into the NFC East we decided on. We're going to talk about Gary Woodland's victory in Houston. Playoffs for the NBA are about to kick off. Last year they were great. Maybe we'll get another exciting postseason, and then we'll also talk a little bit about the expansion that they just dropped on us. So one thing I want to start with, though, I'm wearing my Yankee hat. Opening day this week,
Big day
last
for
week rather,
baseballers.
and baseball. I mean, it's only been 7 days and it's been electric already. Shout out to the Yankees going 3-0, sweeping the Giants. We did lose to the M's last night, but we'll get it back. I want to talk about the ABS challenge system that they got in the MLB right now. This is one of the most electric and greatest things that they have added to the game, and it's only a small sample size. And I'm, again, not going to go into it too crazy. But the calls that the announcers are even getting into, the structure of it, the no nonsense, it's 2 seconds. You have 1 quick second to tap your head or it's over. You don't get the challenge. So you're not going to the dugout. This isn't some, time consuming. We're checking the tape before. It's quick and it's making the game better. And this is exactly what they needed to implement to fix what was going on at the World Baseball Classic. However, they had the ABS challenge system. They're working on it. They have to implement a guaranteed 1 challenge in the 9th inning. I mean, in the NBA, you have refs can stop the clock within 2 minutes. Same with the NFL, they step in and do it. No umpire's going to step in and say, "Oh, I'm wrong about something. Let's check on that. It's 4 feet in the dirt. Let me check if that's a strike." Yeah, no. So I think it's use it sparingly, but they have the rule for extras right now, where every extra inning you get 1 challenge per. And they need to do it in the 9th inning, and I think that this new addition will have perfected what is the ABS challenge system. And they already, they did the pitch clock. They're changing. The game's changing. It's getting more exciting. It's becoming more watchable. I love it.
Yeah,
absolutely love it. Stoked on
that's a dub for
opening
baseball
day.
fans. Absolutely. What does ABS stand for? Is that automatic balls and strikes, or what does that system stand for?
You could have fooled me. That sounds right.
Ladies and gentlemen,
sounds great
ABS
to me.
stands for automatic balls and strikes. We will not hear it any other way on this channel. Yeah, what I love about it is, like you said, it's not a long process. That's the one thing I hate about the NFL, right? Before the coach is like reaching for the challenge flag, he's got 8 guys in his headset. And he's saying like, "All right, we're gonna challenge this." You're trying to look at the replays, see what your advantage is, and like it just takes too long. That split second, like, hey, are you challenging this or not? And I think that's awesome. Also, it's just impressive that, I mean, obviously when you're over the ball and you're consistently batting, like your strike zone, but these guys like. Yeah, but you're
For the
talking
most
about
part.
guys, or like a ball being thrown. I think we were just watching that clip, being outside by 1.1 inches. And you're telling me a guy's like, "Nah, I'm not swinging at that," and that's obviously outside. Like that, it's so subjective. But then the result is not subjective; it's objective. And I just think it's crazy that these guys have this, like their strike zone is dialed in. they've hit so many balls
Yeah,
and seen so many pitches that they're just ready for it.
Millions of dollars are on the line, and especially when we get into the postseason, like one bad strike call can change a whole game. Like we've all seen it. It can kill a rally. It can determine a game. That there's so much. So like to sit there and have, I mean, an umpire. I love, again, this is getting into the traditionalist part of me of baseball, calling balls and strikes, doing your thing. I love it. You got to have a guy behind the dish doing the work, and it's great. But at the same time, there needs to be something that's foolproof that they can lean on to help determine these games down the line, or at least fall back on if they think that they might have just gotten hosed. So, dude, it's awesome.
Now we got so many questions. I know we didn't want to spend this much time on it, but we're going to. We ain't got nowhere to be.
Yeah, well, let's go. What do we got?
How many challenges are they getting per game? It's 2.
It's 2. It's 2, but if you get it right, you keep it, and you can have unlimited if you keep getting them right. So, yeah, you can keep it rocking. Yeah, like I said, you get 2 seconds to use it, so you can't look to your dugout and say, "Hey, review it. Tell me should I challenge?" Not. It's like and also if the umpire thinks that you're getting outside help, like somebody just signaled to you to challenge it, then they can deny your challenge. So it's supposed to be like a quick. Like you said, if you think you're dialed in on your calls, like in your strike zone, call me out on it, and let's get this thing resolved in 5 seconds or less.
That's going to be the first controversy, I think, is what umpire says, no, you received outside help, and the guy didn't. And we're talking like,
well,
that's crazy.
The big controversy also on top of that is they need to understand in other sports, when you challenge a call, you play the play as it stands and as called on the field. Where we're having difficulty is people are challenging quick and they're like, oh, strikeout. So then they play out the play as if it's a ball or a strike or whatever. And then they're like, oh, I would have scored if it wasn't this, or I would have done this. I wouldn't have stole. So there's a lot of, they need to be very definitive of, hey, however I call it, you play out the play, and if you call for a challenge, I'll stop it when the play is done. So if you're taking your base as a walk, you get thrown out, and then they change it to a strikeout, tag out, whatever the weird situation is. If I called it a ball 4, the guy on first going to second is safe no matter what. It's as simple as that. Play it how it is called on the field, and that goes for any challenge in baseball. I think they're having an issue with that, and it's really cut and dry. It's not that difficult to resolve. I think they're just the replay system is new to them and new to the sport in general. So
can't wait to see over under pitch corrections on DraftKings.
Oh, I can't wait, dude. Yeah, no, that's a good one.
They're already working on that prop bet.
Take the Yankees over. We're undefeated right now.
Love that for the Yankees. Love that for baseball. What else? Want to get into some golf?
Yeah, let's talk golf. Let's just get the big news over with. The whole Tiger situation. What a shame. What an absolute shame. And I don't want to speak selfishly here. It sucks for him, but the U.S. Ryder Cup team, I mean, all signs were pointing to him taking over as the captain, and it is, oh my God, we can't catch a break.
Yeah, it's crazy. Because, you live your own life, you do your own thing. Fortunately, nobody got hurt. But you just feel disappointed. And it's crazy because he, like my life and what I think has absolutely no bearing on what Tiger Woods is feeling, right? But you're just like, come on, man. How many times are we going to do this? And yeah, it's really unfortunate. I would go so far to say as not just this year's Ryder Cup captain, I feel like maybe he's lost the privilege for future Ryder Cup captaincies. And I know that, you can possibly get, 20 years down the line, Tiger in his 60s, maybe even 70s at that point. Did he cracked 50, I think, last year.
He's got to be getting close, but
for
that's crazy to think that he's still even that
so
young.
You think about him,
but
maybe a better timeline. It's like 10 years down the road when people have kind of forgotten perhaps the incidences. I would have a hard time okaying the privilege that it is to be the Ryder Cup captain. And this is certainly getting into my golf old head. You already know how I feel about the game of golf. I wouldn't feel great about it. Would I still root for Team USA? Absolutely. Am I still going to buy Sunday Red? Yeah, absolutely. But I just feel like you got to draw the line somewhere. And if you don't draw it for Tiger Woods, who are you going to draw it for? You know?
Yeah, this is where we get in sticky situations when players in any sport, football, basketball, when they cross the line, whether it's they say something that's messed up or they do something that's messed up, whatever it is, actions, words, anything, and then there's some repercussions that come with it. But at the same time, this isn't one of those, at least I don't feel it's one of those like gray area pieces. This is like a pretty cut and dry. He messed up. He did something bad. He's lucky no one got hurt. And this isn't his first offense in that case as well. So, yeah, I mean, look, dude, you had a great career. You had your thing. Playing is pretty much off the table for you. I think we've all decided. I know, obviously, there's Champions Tour and other things to be done, but like, your legacy's cemented. Get your mental health right. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Enjoy the life after golf. Get that right, and then maybe you can. I mean, like you said, it's probably done at this point, but maybe you can find a way to re-enter the golf world in some capacity.
I tell you what, I would love to see either Webb Simpson be the captain. Guy's got U.S. Open, winning pedigree. He's a guy who's been around the tour. He's extremely well liked. He'd be one of those kind of, to me, like a Luke Donald type guy. Were really good more recently, but still not quite like a Fred Couples. And that Fred Couples could be another option too. He's kind of on the older side, and it doesn't really seem like he's happy being like a vice captain and just hanging around as an advisor. He doesn't strike me as, I want to go captain this. Webb Simpson, I think, would be fun to see as a Ryder Cup captain.
Yeah. He also is like I guess he's more into the more modern day game as well. He knows a lot of the guys. I get a little taken aback by how much he's friends with a lot of these guys, and I feel like that was kind of the case a few years back with Zach Johnson that we had issue with. Was he was picking all of his friends, and I don't want that to. And I feel like that's what made Keegan pick the way he did. I'm going to do the exact opposite and make sure they can't pinpoint anything on me because I fell victim to getting cut from a Ryder. He should have been on that Ryder Cup team in Italy. So I have a hard time with Keegan. I didn't mind him as a captain, but he did so unbelievably bad at setting up the course and all of the things that it takes to be a home captain. I wouldn't mind giving him one more chance as an away captain because I think he understands what it means to lead the team. I think he's one of the people. He's playing with these people. He very close to the game and close to what's going on right now in the golf world. And honestly, he's no nonsense. He knows what he's doing. But he needs to not let outside forces tell him how he should pick his lineup. Because I felt like that was another piece of the pairings he was putting out. He was letting Scotty have a hand in it. He was having a lot of like, ride the hot hand. Let's, see with the golfers that auto-qualified. It's like, dude, sometimes the auto-qualified picks are the worst people on the team. And that was certainly the case last year. Like, you're picking your squad for a reason. So sometimes it's leaning on who's hot in that given moment. Again, like I said, not letting the team have too much influence and really just solidifying yourself as I'm the one running the ship. Trust that I'm going to make the right decisions and go play the best golf and get behind what I'm putting out there.
To me, I don't mind I would not mind giving Keegan another shot. It wouldn't be my first pick. Like I said, I would certainly go elsewhere. To me, it was doubling down on the pairings that weren't working. Basically, like rinsing, repeating the same thing. Like, no, we got it. No, this is going to work. And I don't fault him for the course setup. There was that bunch of rain that came in earlier in the week and made it really, really hard to get things firm and fast. I do agree with the pairings issues that he was having. And part of it is some of these guys, because it's such a long qualification process, if you have a couple wins, you're going to be on the team. But your stroke may be gone by that time of the year. If you win a couple of events that maybe aren't, like the Houston Open for example, and we'll get into Gary Woodland here in a second, like that field's not very strong. But if you've got that win, is that the same kind of golf that you're going to take to match play in the Ryder Cup? I don't know. Now, Gary Woodland, I think, is a dog. And shout out Gary Woodland. That's how you come back from an injury. I loved seeing him play. The way he
not even
hits
an
that stinger
injury,
cut.
just
Ooh.
he's got a good action, man. He's got a good action. And yeah, it's not even your typical injury either. Like it was literally a tumor in his brain. Like the craziest story, man. He's fully depressed, has like mental issues. He just feels like something's wrong. He's like, I have no reason in the world. I'm playing golf. I have a beautiful family, and I have no reason to be upset or depressed or anything. Goes in for a scan. Turns out there's a tumor on the part of his brain that makes you sad and depressed. Like the craziest thing you wouldn't even imagine. Gets brain surgery, which is not an easy thing to come back from by any stretch of the imagination. And then now he's just winning on tour. Like that's crazy. And I know you kind of touched on it's not the most competitive field, but in today's game, dude, like I mean, he had to go 22 under to win it. So like that's a tournament.
Won a U.S. Open. He's got the pedigree, and it almost seemed like kind of at his peak is when things started to go sideways for him. So I was extremely happy for Gary Woodland, extremely happy for Cobra and their new Optum driver. It was working out there. I was looking at the setup. He's got that front loaded, or got that weight kind of in the back. I'm gonna give it a shot. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna call up Cobra. I'm gonna say, hey, whatever you got for Gary, go ahead and send that sucker my way.
Send it my
way.
Okay. But yeah, it was a fun tournament. Again, it's kind of tough with these when they're blowouts. You really want to see like competitive golf down the stretch on Sunday, but when it's a guy that's easy to root for like Gary Woodland, that's kind of leading the pack, you kind of just wash your hands of the weekend, enjoy his win, and move on. But yeah, now we got the was it Valero this week? The one that
I believe
pre-Masters. So yeah, we'll see what if Morikawa plays to try and get a little extra work in. We'll see. Back
looks broken.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm saying like we'll see if maybe he'll give it a go and see how he does. But it's gonna be a lot of prep, and then we get Masters Week next week.
Yeah, make sure you tune in for next week's episode too. We're gonna give you guys the inside scoop on all the Masters picks. We're gonna have it all. It's gonna be awesome. All right, you want that? Let's talk a little NFL, shall we? The real meat sandwich. The NFC East, a division that's changing, but also not changing. You've got a little bit of new, a little bit of old. You've still got your typical head coaches in there. You've got Nick Sirianni, who's not my favorite. Harbaugh's new to the crew. You got Dan Quinn, and then you've got Schottenheimer in his second year. It feels like there's a clear division winner, but I just don't have faith that they can actually win the division.
Who's the clear division winner
Philadelphia. Because that roster is so talented.
I'm surprised that's who you said.
But I'm just concerned that whether that's new offensive coordinator with Sean Mannion, getting a quarterback like Jalen Hurts, who couldn't have two more opposite styles. Like, what kind of offense are we calling here? What's going to be, like, how are we going to keep Saquon Barkley activated? You lost your strong offensive line coach. I can't remember his name, but he's out the door. The only positive thing I'm seeing is that they retained Vic Fangio because I think he believes there's still enough talent on the roster, especially on that defensive side, to make another Super Bowl run. And then we already know A.J. Brown, I don't know. We thought A.J. Brown might be on the move. There's still a chance that he ends up on the move. I don't trust the Eagles, and it's because I don't trust Nick Sirianni.
I'm right there with you. I'm actually coming down more toward where you've been. I'm surprised you even said that they're the clear division winner because I think they're going to have a clear regression this year. And again, they're not adding pieces that are making them better, and their offense looked just terrible last year. And when they needed points, they needed, even when their defense was playing well, And they had games that they could go out and win. They just weren't doing it, or they were doing it by the smallest of margins. Yet they just look like an uninspired offense. They're not doing anything exciting. I know you said they just hired
right. So like,
Mannion,
what's that
but
do?
I mean,
I that's why I just don't know.
Yeah, and then I don't want to be the guy to even talk injuries, but like Saquon Barkley's had some, couple good years, and he's also had a very high usage, and that can kind of catch up to you. So if he goes down, it's over. Like I don't know where that offense goes beyond that, and yeah, if you're planning on getting rid of AJ Brown and you're not bringing anyone else in, I don't understand their approach. I don't know where they're at. I don't know. I don't know what to make of the Eagles. I don't even know that they're going to finish second in the division.
Who's finishing third? Is it the Eagles finishing third? Okay,
Them.
better question.
Who's finishing in the
dumpster
what I thought
in this division?
It's the Giants. I have a hard time, and it's like I love the roster and I love a lot of the players, so I'm trying to put my bias aside. It's going to be just like a growing pains year, ho hum, probably 5-win season is what I see it as. I mean, anytime you get a new head coach and he comes into a team that was, like a below 500, honestly, kind of a dumpster fire the last few years, you have to figure out what your identity is, and you have to build out what the team's going to look like, and you have to build out a winning football system within the roster that you have. So that takes time. It's going to take at least a year before I really believe in them. And also, I think it's going to take 2 drafts for John to kind of fill out his roster the way he wants to. So I think they're probably taking last.
Yeah. I hope that they can be a little bit more. They'll be last, but they'll be more competitive by way of not being dysfunctional. So they're still gonna lose games, but I don't think it's gonna lose games looking as everyone flabbergasted on the sidelines, fans wearing bags on the head, throwing stuff on the field. I think it's gonna be a little bit more of a buttoned up losing year, where you feel like the train's moving in the right direction, but you just need a little bit more coal in the engine to really get things going. Can you get another weapon for Jackson Dart, primarily at the running back position? Like, I like Tyrone Tracy. I don't think he's your forever running back. I don't think you're gonna marry the guy. You've got Neighbors, but obviously he's got the big injury. So what does your weaponry look like on that offensive side of the football? That front 7, more so your front 4, great pass rushers, can't stop the run to save their lives. So, like you said, it's going to take a couple of drafts. It's going to take some free agency. But the mentality of how Harbaugh wants to play, straight downhill, hard-nosed football, physical defense, game-managed offense, I think we're going to start to see that come through.
Yeah, 100%. Like you said, I think they'll certainly be. They were even competitive last year in a lot of games. Like they were no easy win for any team. So, yeah, we'll see there. The Commanders are a team that I think they're going to make a jump back up. And I see them as the clear-cut number 2 in the division.
Clear-cut, okay.
And I do. I think, we saw what they were a couple years ago. Of course, all of this is reliant on Jaden Daniels coming back healthy and staying healthy for the season, which is a big if. So this could not age well, but let's assume he does stay healthy for the full year. A lot of additions on both sides of the football. I am interested to see what they do in the draft. I think they have room to fill some big pieces with some day one starters, and I don't know, man. They were electric a couple years ago when they were rolling. They were, they still got Scary Terry. Who'd they just get at running back?
They have Jakrowski Merritt, but they signed Rachaad White.
Yes. So they just got Rachaad White, so I'm sure they'll probably go and get one more young guy for their backfield. And yeah, I don't know. And when I say clear-cut number 2, I mean like a 10-7 record is what I could envision, and then like them kind of competing for a wild card spot. So I don't want to say like they're going to go run away with it or anything, but like 10-7, 9-8 is kind of where I see him sitting. And with that being said, I have the Eagles more in the like 7-win column
Okay.
with a couple really
Okay.
Harsh
That's
losses.
interesting. Commanders, I'm not as convinced as you are. I actually had them finishing third. So I'll just tell you where I went. I went Eagles number 1, Cowboys number 2, Commanders number 3, and then I had obviously the Giants at number 4. And 2 and 3 I think could go back and forth depending on a couple of things, and then 1 and 2 could also come back. So 1 through 3, really no clear direction. But the big thing for the Commanders, I'm still weirded out by Scary Terry. Does he even want to be there? Up next, your best wide receiver is Luke McCaffrey. So we're gonna need to find another weapon for Jaden Daniels to throw the football.
What's wrong with that?
Wrong with that. Don't get me started. I ain't got the time today. And another issue you have is new offensive coordinator, and maybe it's not an issue, but David Blau, he's a former quarterback in the league. Apparently, a lot of the guys around the team like him. Again, it's another situation where you're bringing in a rookie play caller, but somebody who has been a quarterback in the past. Again, looking at the Eagles, who just went with Sean Mannion, you're hoping that they can kind of lead the offense in a new direction. I don't know what that direction is. And for Jaden Daniels, it's not just the health. It's, okay, what do you look like outside of a college system? Because Cliff Kingsbury very much ran an offensive system. And let me go on a side tangent real quick about Cliff Kingsbury. You want to know what he did?
Okay.
He took the assistant head coach job with the Los Angeles Rams. And so you know what he's doing? He said, let me go get a little bit of that Sean McVay smell on me, that I'm an elite play caller smell on me, so that next year I'm either going to take a really high-paying OC job and move on, or I'm going to take another head coach job. And maybe it's 2 years away. But that to me is just the funniest move I have ever seen. And I respect it. But Kingsbury, I see what you're doing.
You gotta respect it.
You ain't gonna get me. You ain't gonna get me. I know what your offense is, and it never.
We've talked about it before
in the second half of the season. Maybe that's what you're seeking is answers.
We've talked about it before. If you attach your name to the Shanahan or McVay tree in this stage of the NFL, like, dude, those two really are gonna look back at this era of football and realize that they've had a hand in pretty much, like, I would say over 2/3 of the league. Like, it's very impressive. I think your concerns with Washington are valid. My only reason putting them above the Eagles is because I just feel like I have more reason to be concerned about a team where your head coach is not only on the hot seat, and we've talked about this many times before already, but also he's lost the locker room. So when you're in that last year of probably should be out the door, the guys don't even really want to play for me anymore, and honestly no one even knows what I do for the football team. Like, Big Dom's got a more clear role of what he does for the football team than Nick Sirianni at this point. I'm like, I can't even. But again, so I get it. For me, those two I could see interchangeable. Like, Eagles just barely missing the playoffs, and Commanders kind of ho-hum. It's going to be interesting how it shakes up, but I think that this is the Cowboys' year, that they really start to click.
So for Sirianni, though, I get the hot seat situation. He was on the hot seat 3 years ago when they had that horrible season.
You thought he was on the hot seat since he started, from his first year.
3 years ago, he was on the hot seat. Because they had that disgusting into the season, really fell apart. And then you fast forward to the next year, win the Super Bowl. And obviously that comes with some new offensive coordinator hires, a new set of coaches in the building with Sirianni to help babysit. And then then the following year, you had Vic Fangio. Still, everything went bad on that offensive side of the football because you hired, was it Presley from the Jaguars, Doug Peterson tree, can't call a football game. Is the offense going to be enough improved to kind of shake off that, that hot seat? Is it going to turn down the heat on the hot seat? Is what I'm saying. Because if it does, if you start scoring points early in the season, everyone in Philly is going to forget until you stop scoring points. So as long as you score points, I think this team is fine. The defense isn't going to give up points. Offense has to. And then with the Commanders, the last thing, I respect what Dan Quinn did in free agency on the defense, bringing a few guys in. I'm really worried about the offense. I know Dan Quinn's going to get the defense smooth and rolling, but yeah, I just worry about that offense and what it's going to look like.
It's fine. I hear you. I hear you. I think when you have an electric player at the QB position, though, who's ready to take risks and sling the ball and maybe jump into a system that might end up working. The thing is there's a lot of it's all hypotheticals absolutely. At this point. We've never seen him in that system with this new OC, so all we can do is just make guesses based off of potential. And I think that there's more to go with Washington over Philadelphia at this point. I think Jalen Hurts, I mean, everyone looks frustrated on his receiving core, dog. Like we don't really know what he is anymore. Like they've taken a clear direction. They've stuck with, and to your point, the Eagles' offense last year has looked the exact same as the prior 2 years. Like there are no changes. Are we going to see any changes this year? Probably not. That's where I'm like, what's the I'm bad with sayings. The saying about the devil you know versus the devil you don't know, something like that. You know which one I'm talking about?
Familiar. I get what you're saying, but I also don't know that one.
Yeah, it's something about No, it's a good one. It's a good one. I swear. But anyways, nonetheless, taking a guess on a team that we feel like we have a pretty good idea versus a team with a lot of potential. Give me the Commanders in the second spot. And now, can we finally talk about
we can. I agree that
the Cowboys.
Marcus Mariota-led team certainly has a future in that division.
Chill. I like the Cowboys this year. I like the direction they took last year. They made a big step. Their offense has always been fireworks. Like we know Dak can get the ball around. If you were judging them just based on the amount of fantasy points that their skill positions put up for everybody, like, I mean, dude, Javonte Williams looked awesome. Like George Pickens was awesome. Wasn't CeeDee's best year, but
when he was available, he
CeeDee Lamb, like
Jake Ferguson is tight end.
Exactly.
Brandon Aubrey kicking the shit out of it. No pun intended.
Yeah, that's not offense.
But he literally averaged 16 points a year or 16 points a game for me last year. I'm drafting him in the third.
Didn't he just get a bag too? Like
he's playing half of his games indoors.
Yeah. So we know what we're gonna get with the offense. It's just like we've talked about before with finding the defensive identity again. I think this is where they're going to do it. I think they're going to go very defensive heavy in the draft. And they have a few picks too. So they're going to get the pick of the litter with a lot of big names on the board. And yeah, I just think that if anyone's going to step up in that division this year, it's going to be them. I want to say they could be a 12-13 win team, but like realistically, this might be one of the divisions that end up being a lot poorer than they have been in years past, and it could be a 10-win, 11-win division winner. Because that's where I'm having an issue is how do the Cowboys stack up against the rest of the NFC, not just their division, and I don't know that they're really moving the needle for me anyways. It's probably going to be whoever wins the division, 3rd, 4th seed in the playoffs, but I don't know. What do you think? What do you make of the Cowboys?
Offense didn't really seem like it had answers in the second half of the season, which is why I'm a little bit hesitant to feel confident with that, because again, you've got Shoddy there having his second year, offensive coordinator. Oh my goodness, what's his name? He was a former tight ends coach, but just not really a play caller, right? Schottenheimer's your play caller, and I just worry that, these guys have a full year of tape on your offense. What have you done to adapt it, right? And again, we know Dak Prescott's great at times. He's not great when you need him to be great, but he's great at times. And I just look at the quality of their wins last year. They beat Vegas. They beat a really lacking Philly team late, but they lost to Detroit. They lost to Minnesota. They lost to Chargers. They lost to New York. They barely beat a struggling Washington team late in the season. Like they were just so inconsistent And I'm not sure that that gets answered with another year of Schottenheimer. I just don't think that they're very complete as a football team. And again, I like the direction they're going. I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago. On defense, they've done a lot to address their defensive line, bringing in Rashawn Gary. I think that's a big up. And if they can address the back end in the draft and a little bit more in free agency, perhaps a trade here or there, they could look a lot better. I just don't have faith. Again, I'm big on the coaching. I just don't think that they have the coach to bring the detail and the sharpness for them to be any better than anywhere somewhere around 500. Which, yeah, maybe that does get you second in the division, but also maybe it doesn't because you lose a couple more games you shouldn't.
Yeah, I disagree. But follow me for a second. If you're convinced that they're a 500 team, right? So, I mean, you can't be 500 at the end of the season. Now it's 17 games, so we'll call it 9-8, right? If the division is as bad as we think they are, and honestly, I think they are the second worst division in the NFC. The first being obviously the when 2 is about to win the division, there's a problem. Anyways, that means if the division winner has 11 games or 11 wins rather, that's only 2 more wins. That's not far off from where you are and where I am. And I feel like they can make a jump to get to an 11-win season and win their division. Like you said, all it's going to take is more consistency, showing up when it matters. And all Dak has gotten is more time in big games, and he's going to have the best cast he's had since being in the NFL this year. Do you agree or disagree?
How many times I've heard that same thing about Dak? This is his best cast. He's gonna do great.
I know.
And listen,
but it is
though.
It is. This will be his.
More than I would love to see a light-skinned brother succeed.
No,
I would love it.
I feel for the guy. I feel for the guy, man. He's a good dude. He works hard.
Perspective. Do you know how awesome it would be to have the Cowboys in the Super Bowl, just in terms of brand?
Whoa. We're not talking Super Bowl winners here, dog. We're talking division winners. Let's take a beat. Okay, we'll take a beat. That's a whole different conversation. We're talking enough to win the division. That is all we're saying. I think they got the gas.
Okay, so final for the clip here. Nathan's number 1 for the NFC East. It's going to go Philadelphia Eagles, Washington Commanders, Dallas Cowboys, followed up nicely and respectably by the last place New York Football Giants. Jared McElroy, what do you got?
Yes. I got the Cowboys taking the division this year. I have the Commanders making a jump back up a little bit. Not fully. They're going to take second. I see the Eagles taking a big step back and kind of enter a whole new era going into next year. Bye-bye Sirianni. They're taking third. And then, I think the Giants just need some time. There's going to be some growing pains. It's going to be a hard-fought game every time they step out there, but I think they're probably only going to walk away with like 5 or 6 wins.
In the area of common ground, 11 wins is the max here for this division, we think? About 11 wins?
Dude, I don't see any more than that. I think it's going to be, and it could be 10. I don't want to be rude, but like, it could be 10.
It could be.
Yeah. Sweet. Good stuff on the NFL there. We got the draft coming up in 3 weeks here, man. So we're going to fill some time because I feel like we're probably not going to see too many moves made until, maybe draft week we might see a move or two. Some teams that are want it known where they're picking and put some feelers out there. But I'm excited for the draft. I want it to be tomorrow if it could be. I'm ready.
I can't wait for the draft. A lot of these teams are playing it close to the vest, as they should. The gamesmanship of it. But as a football fan, it's like that Chargers meme that you have for the covers photo. It's like, do something. Like, I want to see some NFL news. I can only talk about the NBA for so long, and I do love the NBA. The playoffs are about to start heating up. I think a few teams are locked for the play-in. When does the play-in start? Is that next week?
Yeah, well, here, let's kick it off with that. Let's kick it off with that right away. The whole playoffs on both sides playing. Everything is locked and loaded, and we got 8 games left. Some teams have 8. I think there might be a team out there with 9 games left, and everything's locked and loaded. So if you want to talk about a tanking problem in the NBA, let me throw some numbers out there for you. The West right now, is 11.5 games behind the 10th seed, which is the cut line for the play-in. The East is 10.5 games, the 11th seed, 10.5 games behind the 10th. How are you going to sit back and tell me, hey, let's add 2 more teams to this? Not to mention 2 more teams that at best can pick your 9th best player, which for the viewers, if we do move into an expansion and they do add a couple teams, how it works is every single team gets 8 players that are untouchable. So they get to pick whoever they view as their 8 untouchable players, and then the 2 teams will draft back and forth, cherry picking players off of teams from there. If you're unprotected, you're up for grabs. Hey, let's add 2 teams that consist of the 9th best player on every team in the NBA, and they'll be pretty competitive, right?
No, they will not.
What are we doing?
Right. In markets that are going to work for the use case. I think what's interesting is I like Seattle for a market in terms of expansion. Formerly had a team, used to be a big basketball city. From a high school and like talent AAU perspective, they still put out a ton of talent. As far as NBA loving fans, I'm not sure if there's any left. I feel like Seattle maybe has lost that zeal for NBA basketball because it's been gone for so long, essentially Kevin Durant's entire career. So it's kind of tough for a team to come back, and I think that everyone will be really hot and energetic around it, provided everything goes as it should, and Seattle actually ends up getting a team. But I don't know. I just think going to a basketball game in Seattle is going to cost me $500 for a ticket, $300 for concessions, another $250 for parking, and I'm not going to be able to afford to go to the game. And that's more
I will
so
say I love the 2. Yeah, we're a little biased. We're in Portland, but I love the 2 markets that they chose. I think Seattle and Las Vegas are the 2 markets that absolutely need teams if they're going to do that. But why are we talking expansion before relocation? If you really want to get teams in those cities, okay, tell me this. If I buy a fixer-upper house, why would I paint the damn thing before I freaking fix the house? Before I put up all the walls? Before I fix and actually renovate the house? Why would I paint to start? Painting is the expansion. The fixing the house is fixing the problem of the tanking that we have, the awful product of regular season NBA basketball. And we're still not addressing the gigantic elephant in the room that is, you have an 11th seed who is 1 seed away from competing in the playoffs that is 11.5 games behind, because it means more to them to lose games for a pick than it does for them to be that close to playing in the damn playoffs. So I don't get it. I don't understand it. Like, I love expansion, but if we're expanding, it's because we have a ton of talent everywhere. And don't get me wrong, they can create 2 good teams and then, we'll fill out rosters from there. We saw when they started doing all the 10-day contracts, there's a lot of dudes who can play that are in the G League that are in, like, we'll fill the rosters, we'll make it good. But like, Chauncey Billups just got arrested for freaking losing games on purpose, man. Like, what are we doing? Like, it's obvious. It's out there. It's like the thing that the NBA is trying to gaslight the entire NBA fan base about, of tanking. There's no problem. We're finding people. It's working. It's not working. What say you?
I agree, and you're always just a year away from being really awful. Just ask the Indiana Pacers. They're top of the league last year, riding high. We're going to run this thing back. Halliburton goes down. Siakam goes down. Obi Toppin goes down. McConnell's hurt. Nembhard's hurt.
Are they hurt?
Or are they just shutting it down at this point, right? Like, So my
Exactly.
point, yeah, I mean that layers into it even more. But again, like you're always in the NBA because there's only five guys on the floor, and one guy can be so impactful. You're really just an injury away from not being great. So now you want to stretch that out again over two more teams across an entire 83 game season, and then you're also going to have less matchups between other teams throughout the year. And I don't think that's the biggest thing in the deal or biggest thing in the world. Like you're only adding two more teams, but the depth and quality of basketball, like nobody wants to go to a Nets game. Nobody wants to go to a Wizards game. Nobody wants to go to a Pacers game right now. Maybe last year they did. It took Oklahoma City not too long, but a long time to really establish themselves in Oklahoma City for fans to even want to show up. And you kind of got blessed with the players they had on the roster that made it engaging and exciting for fans to be there. I think I might have already said Memphis. Nobody wants to see the Pelicans play. Like, there's already so many. The Kings. Nobody wants to see the Kings play. Like, there's just so many teams that nobody cares enough to watch. Forget going in person. Just watch on TV. I'd rather watch Beat Bobby Flay than sit down and watch a King than watch a Kings. It is a good show.
Hey, that's a good show.
Than watch a Kings. Watch a Kings Grizzlies matchup. You know what I mean? Like, there's just, and especially regular season
never.
before the All-Star break. And again, it's money, it's tax dollars, it's this, that, and the other. But I guess the biggest winner here is probably strip clubs in Vegas.
Yep. Stock's going up in Vegas for sure. Especially if James Harden doesn't get one of those 8 spots in Cleveland. He might be the first round pick in Vegas. I want to go on the record. I think that they need to, if they're going to expand, they're going to go to 32 teams. The bottom 2 teams need to get relegated to a shame schedule where they only play each other for a full year. They don't get a pick in the draft. And they have to just play each other like the Globetrotters. And who the Globetrotters play? What's their name? I've heard the Generals, yes. So they are just like the Globetrotters and the Generals. They're going into each stadium. They're at Moda Center this weekend. Next weekend they're at MSG. You know, that's your punishment. You want to lose? Don't be in the bottom 2, because that's what's going to happen to you. No, like, dude, honestly, they need to do something, and I have a hard time figuring out what it is. There's no clear answer. But why not just, at this point, if it's that big of an issue, let's just test out a year of everyone has the same odds in the lottery. So your bottom 15 teams, they all have the same odds, and then there's a different odds for the next 15. So,
well, then how hard are you tanking to be in that bottom 15?
It's not hard to finish in the bottom 15. 16 teams make the playoffs.
Right, but if you're going to be, if you're going to be the 8 seed, or you're the 10 seed and playing, like, would I even want to win my play-in game as the 10 seed? Or would I rather just take the L knowing I'm going to get absolutely smacked in round 1 by Oklahoma City and just, keep tanking? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, no, I hear you. But I mean, like, something that makes it so that competing, being in a 15 spot versus being the dead last spot, there's no benefit to that. So it's competing your absolute hardest, and then at worst, down the stretch, you tank a couple games. It's better than tanking a full season.
What if?
That's all I'm saying. Makes it a little more.
Number 15 after expansion 16 gets the number 1 overall pick.
No. Or how about this? The bottom 20 teams are your new lottery. So there's 5 playoff teams that might be able to get the one pick.
Hear me out. In between the NBA final, the end of the Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals and the NBA finals, you have the draft finals. And it's the bottom.
Yeah, here's the issue with that.
6 teams, the teams with the best seeding get a bye, and they play a little mini tournament for the number 1 seed.
I heard Cam Johnson talk about this, and he's like, no, he did. This is an actual thing where they talked about playing for the pick, and he said there's no NBA player he knows, and he knows he himself wouldn't compete for a franchise that would drop them the next day if it was beneficial to them. So you're basically playing for them to go draft your replacement. It doesn't make sense to them. So they would never get the And they're also like the Players Association in the NBA. They're very strong. It's one of the strongest in any major sport. So they're going to defend their players at
And you want to be
all costs.
You want to be in Cabo at that point. You ain't trying to hang around, keep it in shape.
Let's wrap it up with some March Madness, huh?
I'll tell you what, my bracket is doggy. It's bad. It's bad. But I do have Arizona winning, and that's kind of been my saving grace. And I have them in the matchup with Michigan. Those are legit the only two teams I have left. And they've been the only two teams I've had left for quite some time now. So it's not been great. Did you make a bracket?
I don't have anyone left. Yeah, I don't have anyone left. There's nothing good going on. I didn't watch any of the regular season, but I will say these games have been great. It's been solid. And I feel like college basketball's back in the news a little bit. I don't know if you saw the Rick Pitino stuff that just dropped today. Or I don't know if it dropped today, but he was just talking a little bit about the transfer portal. And I thought it was interesting because we think of the transfer portal in football, but we don't think about the impact it has on college basketball. And he was just talking about how he's shaped so many guys when he was at Louisville into NBA players, like, you know, your Donovan Mitchells of the world. Like so many players.
Not hey, guy, but what a guy.
Big name right there. I think he had a stint. He was a Celtic, wasn't he? Like a minute? Regardless. It is interesting seeing a lot of these names. I mean, there's always the impact of the one and done. So like you watch these tournaments and you see the guys and you're like, they're just like, damn, we lost. It sucks. But they know they're going to, so like the AJ DeBounce, so that's what I'm talking about. I can't stand that guy after what he said about Portland. So he's on my shit list. So he's going to be exactly my example of what's wrong with college basketball. But then you go see Cam Boozer go out, get bloodied up, black eye, just looked like he had just been in an all-out war, putting it all on the line for his team. And that's why his games have been so much more fun to watch. So there's still good product in college basketball in March, regardless of how bad the regular season is.
Yeah,
they still got it going.
Always going to be where the superstars shine, and I think that's the best part. You kind of get to see a look behind the curtain of the future stars and who are going to be the guys that show up in the big moments. And obviously not everybody translates to the NBA, but you just see a lot of guys. You're like, wow, it's awesome that I haven't watched any of his college games at all, whether he's been there for 1 year or 4 years, but I happen to sit down and watch this masterpiece, and it's pretty tight. And I think that's the beauty of March Madness, is you fall in love with guys for 3 weeks. And you're like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. And you can appreciate it. And then you get the personalities of the consistent coaches, your Tom Izzos, your would-be Coach K's, your Dan Hurley's, absolute monster. This guy is crazy. Did you see the clip? Not just the headbutt one. I know that one's popular. But the one, he's jawing at a ref, and the ref walks away. He says, hey, don't turn your back to me. I'm the best coach in the fucking game.
I didn't see that one. But it doesn't surprise me. He's a crazy person.
But yeah, I mean, the transfer portal is always going to be a problem, just because I think there's going to continue to be more money in basketball to kind of keep up with football. Guys are going to go where they can get the most money possible and try and play. If you saw one of the graphics of, it was each team, and then it was where the players started their career. And they would have one, maybe two guys, except I think Michigan State, had 4 of their guys all starting, and then somebody else had a few. But yeah, like these guys, you're just on a, where can I get the most playing time? Where can I get the most money loop? And it kind of kills your Adam Morrison's staying for several years, like those kind of stories.
Yeah. To bring it back to the point, I didn't even wrap up the point I was trying to make with the transfer portal stuff, but it makes for better basketball because the teams are better. They finally have incentives with the NIL to actually be in college, whereas like before, people were like, I mean, we're even talking about some of the best players starting to go to the G League, play international. There was really nothing keeping people in college basketball anymore, and now there's a reason to. You have the autonomy to go anywhere you want to go, play anywhere year to year. again, make money doing it too. So it's been pretty good. I think it's kind of shown this year that it's starting to pay off. Probably Arizona, honestly. They look great. They look like, I don't even know. But I've been wrong.
I think it's Arizona.
So don't ask me.
There's a team to beat them, probably Michigan, because Michigan's got a 7-2 guy, and then everyone else on their starting roster is like 6'9", and they just play aggressive defense. Defense wins championships. So I still think Arizona's going to pull it out. I think Illinois' offense isn't going to allow UConn to come back from a game like that. Like UConn got really lucky that last matchup. So I think we're going to see Arizona, Illinois.
What's a shame. What a shot. What a shot, but that was a shame.
You couldn't have drawn up a worse way to lose. Could not have drawn up.
Did you see the video of the coach's reaction to it? If not, I'll send it to you. He's like trying to call him out of it. He sees it playing out right before him, and then he just the sadness in his eyes and the look on his face as his worst nightmare was happening was just
I don't feel bad for Schreier.
Awful, man. All right.
Let's wrap it up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to episode 8 of the Know Your Personnel podcast, a.k.a. KYP. I'm Nathan Hawthorne. This is my co-host, Jarod McElroy, and we will see you guys next week.